Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the Ruslan G YouTube channel, R-U-S-L-A-N-G. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and in today's episode, we're gonna be talking about the few ways that you can become a more savvy person as far as when it comes to money, how you can be more frugal, how you can keep more money in your pocket instead of wasting it on things that you might not need or you think you need. But essentially, these are some of the things that I learned throughout my life. I'm just gonna outline the list of things that you can do to make your pockets a little bit more full. Hope you learned something new, and without further ado, let's dive right into this one. Yeah. All right, welcome back. So the very first thing that I like to talk about is buying things in bulk. And so a lot of us might have a local supermarket near us, and we might go and, buy paper towels when we need it. And that's great and all, and you can do this, right? Laundry detergent, paper towels, things that we use on a regular basis. But what I suggest is actually going to a place called Costco, where they sell Kirkland brand products. And instead of buying just one paper towel or buying 2 paper towels, I actually end up buying a whole lot of paper towels, so that way I don't have to keep going out to the store and buying more. And it also is a lot cheaper to buy in bulk versus to buy one thing at a time. So this goes with things like paper towels, toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrushes, anything else that you might need on a daily or weekly basis. Costco is a great place to do that. And if you don't have a Costco near you, Sam's Club is another great option, or Winco if you have it, and there's some other options if you're out in the UK. But for the most part, if you live in the United States, you can find a Costco near you, and hopefully you can save some money by buying things in bulk. Now, another money-saving tip is on something that we all know and a lot of us love, and that is coffee. And for those of you that like to go to Starbucks and get yourself a cup of coffee a day, that gets very, very expensive, especially because a cappuccino is like $4 or $5 per cup. And so when you rack that up for, let's say, a month, $5 a cup times 30 is $150. That could be going into your savings or investing account versus into coffee. And now, obviously, if you drink coffee, there's almost no way to make it essentially free unless you work at a coffee shop. But what you can do is you can actually buy the beans and grind them up and put them into something like a French press, which doesn't really cost any money besides the beans themselves. Or what we had for a very long time is we have an espresso maker, which an espresso maker is kind of like a Keurig if you've ever heard of a Keurig, but what it does is it makes the coffee for you using some pods that you buy from the store. Now, Nespresso claims that it's a very, very cheap option, which comparatively to a cappuccino from Starbucks, it is a much cheaper option because the only thing you pay for are the pods and then water. And so when you buy the pods, it actually comes out to be about $1.20 per pod, which doesn't sound like a lot of money. And I don't think it is. Honestly, if you're drinking 1 cup a day, $1.20 is very, very cheap. But if you know Graham Stephan, he talks about his iced coffee being 20 cents per cup. So what I started doing is instead of drinking a cup of coffee a day at $1.20, I started to get these beans and grind them up and make a French press. That ended up coming out to be between 40 and maybe 60 cents per cup of coffee, which is not that bad, right? But after watching Graham Stephan's videos and how he talks about 20-cent iced coffee, I decided to do one better. And that is to cut out coffee completely. I love coffee, and honestly, I don't know where I'd be without it. And from time to time, I'll go and get myself a cup of coffee. But for the most part, I decided to cut out coffee almost entirely out of my routine. And that is because I don't want anything that I am addicted to, maybe besides exercise and getting good sleep and, drinking good water and organic food. Those types of things are great. But overall, I don't want something that I'm addicted to that doesn't really serve me, makes me feel like I can't do the tasks that I'm required to do without that cup of joe, right? And so for me, I decided to cut it out completely. So there you go, Graham Stephan, 0-cent coffee. How do you like that? Let's go on to the next money-saving tip. All right, and the next money-saving tip is actually something to do with if you're in college. And now a lot of people don't know that this option exists. And actually for years and years and years, I didn't know. And I wish I knew for the time that I did go to college, because this would have saved me a lot of money. Luckily, I ended up selling the books that I did have, but there is an option for you as a college student to get your books online for free from a really good source, and that is openstacks.com. What it is it's a website where you can go and download a PDF version of any book that you need for college. Most books are on there already. they're updated, they're revised. And what you can do, even if you like the physical copies, you can go and get them printed out at a fraction of the cost of the actual book. I think I paid like $200 for one of my psychology books that I used once because everything was online at that point. And most of the class ended up being in video format anyway. And even my teacher was like, hey, we probably are not gonna use these books. I'm legally required to tell you to buy the books, but you don't need to buy the books. And so if you think about that, books are outdated, especially ones that are required by college professors and schools. So go check out OpenStax, that's OPENSTAX.com. And again, this is not sponsored by them. I just wanted to give my college students some love and say, hey, if you're gonna choose that route, there is a free option for those textbooks. The classes are already super expensive. Why not save some money by not paying for those crazy expensive textbooks every single semester or every single year? So hopefully you find them out and useful. On to the next money saving tip. All right, so the next money saving tip is actually something that one of my old friends did tell me unknowingly that it's gonna save me money, but I realized that I should include it, and that is to stop using paper and pencils and instead use whiteboard markers and whiteboards. And I realized that I was writing a lot of things down all the time, and half of it was just what I need to regurgitate in my own head and not really come back to. And the things that I need to come back to, I can save in my phone. I can write it down on a whiteboard, take a picture of it, and then save it in my phone library. And what I realized is that I wasn't going through as much paper or notebooks as I was used to. I think school actually teaches us to write things down this way. When we become adults, we end up resorting to this method versus something that I really like, and that is whiteboard. And if you don't know this, I actually have 3 whiteboards right in front of me right now, 2 big ones and a little one that I can write things down, and a lot of times I will print my videos this way. But again, this is a great way to save money. You can buy these markers in bulk. I have like 30 of them right there, and I don't use this anymore besides maybe printing some documents from time to time. But essentially, I don't really waste paper as much as I used to. But overall, it saves a lot of money, and it saves a lot of resources that our Mother Nature hopefully thanks us for. All right, guys, we're back in the kitchen for the final tip on saving money and how to be frugal. And that is not gonna be making kombucha or how to make kombucha, even though I think that's a great skill to have if you spend $3 or $4 like I used to at the grocery store buying these kombuchas that are overly priced, which you can make the same thing at home, super low maintenance and really easy to make. All you need to do is buy a kit online. You can even ask someone that already has a kombucha made that if you could potentially have their SCOBY, which again, I'm not gonna get too far into this video, but go check that out. If you have some time, maybe on YouTube or on Google, type in how to make kombucha at home. I think that's a really great tip, but not everyone drinks it. So let's actually get into something that I think would be useful for everyone and that everyone uses at this point, especially in the modern world, which is memberships. Memberships such as Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, Costco, and many other memberships that I'm not gonna include in this list, but you know what I'm talking about. Especially those video memberships, we're almost accustomed to at this point because TV is so outdated. I mean, yeah, from time to time, you know, I'll go and click through the channels, but Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon provide such a great option at such an affordable price that it's really hard for the TV stations to keep up. And for us as consumers, we end up spending $50, $60, $70 a month, you know, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Netflix, on Hulu, on Amazon, on all these products that are monthly memberships in most cases, and we forget that we have them, and really we rely on them, right? We come home, we turn on the TV, and in most cases, we end up watching, you know, 2-3 hours of TV, and time just passes us by. But if you're like me and you want to save money on, especially on something, you know, that might be costing 70, 80, 90 bucks a month, this is a great way to do that. And this is what I'm talking about is on most of these platforms, what you can do is you can sign up for a family plan. And some of you might already have a family plan that you're on. And that is great because you're not spending 20, 30 bucks per membership to own. And if that's you, and if that sounds like you, that's awesome. Because if you can go and divvy out the cost to each person, that's even better because then you save money. So what I would recommend, if you have a membership service like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, YouTube, create a family plan, figure out how many people you can have on that plan and divvy it out. And maybe what you might find is other people that your friends and family, let's say you don't have Netflix, but you have Hulu, what you can do is you can trade with someone that has the complimentary service. You say, hey, I'd love to watch this show that's on your service. Is it okay if we could maybe exchange logins? Of course, maybe change your password if you keep the same password for a few things. But what I would do is I would go ahead and trade my family membership for someone else's family membership. For example, I have a YouTube account. I let a couple of my friends and some of my family use my YouTube account. It cost me $22 and it cost them nothing. But in exchange, what I do is I ask them, hey, do you mind pitching in on Hulu and maybe helping me out on Hulu? They're always more than happy to do so because I've given them something for free. So hopefully you found these useful and hopefully you became a little bit more frugal with these tips. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the very next episode. Peace out.